They're doing it again for climate change. So now so remember they shut down Dutch farmers. So here's what I'm saying about climate change. Even if everything they say that is happening, climate change, meaning environmentally, their solutions are bullshit. And so I will no longer go along with the establishment or Greta Thunberg because she is a psyop in bed with war pigs who are destroying the environment.
Wait, you telling me this girl that never went to school doesn't know what she's talking about?
Doesn't know. Turns out she doesn't know what she's talking about. So it turns out now the Irish, they're doing it to the Irish. Ireland, farmers on streets as the government wants to kill 200,000 cows to meet climate change goals. Ah, beautiful Holland, where the streets are paved with cow shit. But that's what you get when you F around with the food supply, pretending you're the good guy trying to rescue humanity. This is how they're going to rescue the climate, slaughtering 200,000 cows on Irish farms.
Is this like a carbon offset for that pipeline they blew up?
Right? So these same people who are telling you they have to do this are the same people that just blew up the Nord Stream pipeline, are the same people who are waging war endlessly. They're the same people flying around the world on private jets. And they're the same. So the United States has 1,000 military bases. The number one emitter of carbon in the world is the United States military. Why nobody ever says, hey, let's shut down a couple of hundred U.S. military bases around the world. Maybe we could. No, the first thing they do is they go after Dutch farmers and now Irish farmers. I say, I don't believe anything that they say about. I know that this, when you recycle, it doesn't get recycled. Just so that's the first lie they're telling you. Everybody still recycles, but that stuff doesn't get recycled. It goes through a landfill because China stopped taking our recyclables.
They're like, we're not just throwing this away for you anymore.
That's right. So they're lying about climate change. They're lying about how to fix climate change. This isn't how to do it.
Well, the Nord Stream pipeline, if methane, that was the largest amount of methane ever released at once by humans, right? Or something like that?
Yes. It was.
So if it's such a dire thing, you would think that would figure into the plans. Like, hey, this proxy war, maybe we shouldn't release this methane in the air because it'll be disastrous.
No, they don't care.
Oh, I guess all the cows in Ireland will die. It'll make up for it.
So they're going to kill 200,000 cows to meet climate change goals, Kurt. Because at least they're being honest about the fact their version of I'm saving the environment means getting rid of us. That's what it sounds like.
It's a real PETA solution.
And if you don't think they don't see us people as cattle, I guess you haven't flown lately.
Did you ever? Who's the guy that wrote about the Russian gulags?
I don't know.
Famous, I forget, but they say all people that were in the Soviet during the Stalin era, even that was better service in the airlines. Like even that was a better, more spacious and less hassle.
So now literally killing equals rescuing. So they're going to
say that.
They're going to rescue us now from the climate. And how do they do it? We're going to kill 200,000. So here's what the Wall Street Silver says. He says, just in farmers in Ireland are protesting against the government's plan to slaughter 200,000 dairy cows to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. 55,000 direct and indirect jobs are threatened. Why do governments push these crazy plans to reduce the food supply?
I don't know, but
I don't know. The establishment is once again using fear of climate change to shut down farms. The biggest emitter of carbon dioxide in the entire world is the U.S. military, but nobody ever mentioned shutting any of the 1,000 military bases the U.S. has around the world. It's because they don't really give a shit about climate change and only use it to transfer wealth upwards and to control you. That is how it's used. That is what it's being used for. And if you think I'm kidding, here, remember, this is all the U.S. military bases around the world.
Oh, look at that world order. Look at
that's
that world
not
order
Russia,
right there.
China, Russia. No other country does this. We're the only country. That's just the United States. No other country has military bases outside their country. China might have 2. Russia might have 3.
1,000 points of light.
This is the United States. Look at just Central America. Look at that. And then, of course, South America. And, of course, right in the middle of the Atlantic. We got it everywhere. Look at this. Look at that. Look at the Middle East. How could they put their countries around our military bases like that? The government of Ireland is considering to do. Farmers are protesting against the proposal, and Tesla chief Elon Musk also came forward against the idea. The Irish government wants to kill 65,000 cows every year for 3 years, and if they succeed, it will reduce the country's livestock by 10%. Boy, Elon Musk, why doesn't he just launch those cows into space, right? He could literally send the cow over the moon. Under the European Green Deal, 27 countries have agreed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by at least 55% by 2030. Which, again, isn't going to do a goddamn thing.
Well,
We're already past the tipping point for global, whatever they said is supposed to happen. We're already past it, and we're going to burn every last barrel of oil under the earth. You know that's going to happen. This Ukraine war is about so we can sell more liquefied natural gas to Europe. So that it's not stopping. You want to say something?
It's just like, get ready for 2030 where we're going to have the food supply. All I keep hearing about is demographic collapse. That's a very popular term right now because they're not replacing citizens enough to keep up with the people dying in the population.
Yeah,
it used to be a Russian problem.
Yeah,
now it's everywhere. It's here, Europe. So I don't understand how this helps.
I don't know how it helps either. So they did this deal, the European Green Deal. 27 countries have agreed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by at least 55% by 2030. And you know how they wrote that? They wrote that agreement while they were flying around on their private jets. For some countries, the goal is not that easy to meet. One such country appears to be Ireland, which has decided out-of-the-box idea to fulfill the goal of killing 200,000 cows in the next 3 years. On July 13th, over 2,000 farmers staged a rally in Bandon expressing their frustration and fears over a potential cut to the nitrates derogation stocking rate. Wow. All I can tell you this, if there's ever a group of farmers you do not want to piss off, it's the Irish farmers, right? Because you might want to get someone to start your car for a while. You know what I'm talking about? Non-dairy farms, but farmers from other agricultural sectors also turned up at the protest. There's a little bit of the protest. So you see they're protesting. Conor O'Leary, the chair of Cork Central's Irish Farmer Association, said there are so many farmers that would be affected by this. We've done everything that's been asked us for 15 years, and we are saying that better measures can be undertaken. For a typical farmer, it would mean approximately a little more than 10% reduction in cow numbers. That's the last percent of. So anyway,
they're cutting their profit off of. So the last 10% is where they make money off of owning cows.
Yeah. So and that's where you get all your profit, right? So all your profit comes on your last 10% of your cow. All the other percent pays for your cows. That pays for your operation. That's what that was saying.
It's not for climate activism, like I'll let you read it, but.
So the push to end life of both animals and humans in the name of climate activism is fundamentally evil. Ireland is looking to kill 200,000 cows to fight climate change. Elon Musk says this really needs to stop. Killing some cows doesn't matter for climate change.
This is like somebody wants to own all the farms and then own the land.
That's what this is about. According to the Trumpet, the project would cost Ireland $640 million and will result in reducing emissions by 25% over 7 years. The proposal will be offered to the aging farmers as a retirement exit scheme. They're going to give them $5,000 per cow.
There's something scary coming, man.
I know.
It's really like something bad coming.
Wow, watch all the shit libs are going to sign up for the Cow Kill 2023. They're all going to be going, yeah, kill cows. That's. Do your part by finding a cow and killing it. That's what they're going to be telling us. Make sure that you wear your woolen pussy hat when you do it. Kill a cow or you're a racist homophobe, Kurt. You're not going to kill a cow? Are you? What are you, alt-right?
No, I mean, not for no reason unless I'm hungry.
What? What are you, afraid of homogenized milk? Pat McCormick, a president of the Irish Creamery Milk Suppliers Association, questioned the proposal and said, we're the one industry with a significant roadmap, and to be quite honest with you, our herd isn't any larger than it was 25 to 30 years ago. Can the same be said for the transportation industry? Can the same be said for the aviation industry? How about for the United States military industry? Again, the first people they go after to fight climate change are farmers. I say this is about you wanting to control the population's food supply. This is just like with digital banking.
Yeah,
it's about control. This is all about control.
Oh, the world order is about to get even better.
In 2019, AOC a U.S. lawmaker, expressed her concerns over climate change and said if the issue were not addressed in time, it would end the world in 12 years.
She's
really smart.
She really is. I don't know who's smarter, her or Greta.
It was similar to when Greta said that if we didn't, remember when Greta Thunberg said a top climate scientist is warning that climate change will wipe out all of humanity unless we stop using fossil fuels over the next 5 years. Well, we didn't do that. So now it's over, right? So now there's nothing we can do, Greta, to change that. It's all over, right? So why even try? Because we didn't stop using fossil fuels. It's 5 years later.
Well, how come she hasn't grown in 5 years? She's the same size when
She's
she
exactly
came out.
the same size.
Like Gary Coleman or something.
AOC called for completely ditching fossil fuels and taking drastic steps, including totally overhauling transportation. We set a goal to get the net zero rather than zero emissions in 10 years because we aren't sure that we'll be able to get rid of farting cows and airplanes that fast fully. However, Fox News pointed out her remarks were first replaced with emissions from cows and then deleted completely. So she's not even saying that anymore.
She's a farted cow.
AOC said we should completely overhaul transportation before entering her armored 5-ton SUV to take her to her hermetically sealed domicile. You think we're the carbon they want to reduce?
We need to get rid of airplanes, she said.
So here's a guy, So here's a guy from the European Union. His name is Mislav Kolakusic in the European Parliament. And listen to what he says about, they have a plan in the European Parliament to do this, right? This is all coming from them. And this is what he says about, it's called the Nature Restoration Law. Means we got to shut down your farm and take over your stuff and control you. And so he stands up against it, and here's what he says.
Zakon o obnovi prirode. Kako to lijepo zvuči? Tko se ne
He says, how nice does that sound? The Nature Restoration Act.
bi složio s time? Međutim, prava istina je
However, the real
da je
truth
ovdje
is that this is
riječ
just
o
another
samo
huge
još jednom
idiocy
ogromnom idiotizmu kakvog smo u ovom
that we
domu
have seen in
vidjeli
this
već
house
bezbroj puta.
countless times.
Jedini
The
pravi
only
cilj
real goal of this
ovog
law
zakona je
is the
konfiskacija
confiscation of private
privatnog
property
vlasništva i
and the
oduzimanje
confiscation of
poljoprivrednog
agricultural
zemljišta
land from
poljoprivrednicima,
farmers, which is the
što ima
ultimate goal
krajnji cilj, a to je
of making organic food
nedostupnost
unavailable
organske
to
hrane
citizens.
građanima. Znači,
So
želi
you
se
want to prevent the
onemogućiti
average citizen
prosječnom građaninu da može
from being able to eat
jesti
normal food.
normalnu hranu. To je
That would
zakon
be better.
bilo bolje
That
da se
law would
zove
better be
zakon
called
o
the
nedostupnosti
unavailability
hrane
of food to the
građanima
citizens of the
Evropske unije.
European Union law.
Nekada u komunizmu
There
bilo je
used to
barem
be at
malo
least some
dostojanstva,
dignity in
pa su se
communism,
zakoni o
so the laws on
konfiskaciji privatnog
confiscation of
vlasništva
private property were called
nazivali
confiscation
zakonom o
laws.
konfiskaciji. Sada
Now
ih
you call them the
nazivate
Nature
zakonom
Restoration
o
Law.
obnovi planete Zemlje, obnovi prirode. Pa to su
Well,
gluposti
that's
i
idiotic
idiotarije.
nonsense.
Hvala.
Thank you.
Where's he from?
Well said. Well said.
Who came
Wow.
up with this 2030 agenda? Like who?
What's
who
again?
farted that out?
This is just for to control, take away your ability to eat food. They control everything. I'm not going along with any of it until they start closing down U.S. military bases by the hundreds. I'm not doing anything to try to fight climate change. Nothing. Because, first of all, there's
Croatian, by the way.
I don't think there's anything we can do to stop climate change. Nothing. They're going to burn every last barrel of oil. So what we should be doing is using our smarties on how to mitigate it. How do we live with the effects of climate change? What can we do to live with it? We know it's going to happen. We're never going to stop wars. We're never going to stop blowing up pipelines. We're never going to stop burning oil. So what do we do then?
You're saying my paper straw does not affect the pipeline explosion releasing?
No.
You're saying my carbon footprint
No.
doesn't matter? BP lied to me?
So they're not going to do anything about the U.S. military. They're not going to
Yeah.
do about anything about the top 100 companies that contribute 80% of all the carbon they have. They're not going to do
An
anything.
oil company is the one who told you about your carbon footprint.
That's
Yep.
right. An oil company told me about my carbon footprint, and now they want to take away our family farms. This is not. So what we should be doing is try, if they really think, the problem is the people making these laws, they don't stop flying on their private jets. So I don't think they really believe this. And I really, by the way, a lot of the models for climate change, none of them are coming true. There's more coral reef now. Remember they said the Great Coral Reef? There's more coral reef now than ever. Than ever. There's more coral reef now than ever. Yes, the Great Barrier Reef.
I thought that.
You thought that was supposed to all be dead by now. Yeah, there's more of it now than ever.
Oh.
So, but that's another story. Let me check my facts on it and get back to you. But I'm telling you, you're being lied to about climate change, and it's in order to control you. And my perspective is we should be looking for ways to mitigate the damage. Okay.
Well, when the prediction of this is the end, when you do that.
Right. When you do that.
Because everything's got to be done by fear. Okay.
Right.
But once you do that, without even any of the science to it, it already sounds a lot like when I was a Jehovah's Witness and the end of the world was coming any day now. And I got to say, at this point, the Jehovah's Witness thing sounds closer than the scientist.
Hey, come see us on tour. We'll be in Baltimore, San Francisco, Huntington Beach, Rosemont, and Chicago, Las Vegas, Salt Lake City, New York City, Pottstown, Pennsylvania, Stamford, Connecticut, and more, and St. Louis. Go to jimmydore.com for a link for all our tickets for all our shows.